How's it going, everyone? Today's video is going to be a video response to mhade990, who posted a video about 9/11 and his experiences, and he wanted other people to chime in and share what they went through on that day. It's been very interesting watching other people's responses to this video and sharing, what they went through and what they were thinking, and it's been very interesting and kind of eye-opening to see those. And so I thought it would be nice if Hillary and I posted a video response to sharing our experience. Most of the people that we've seen talk so far have talked about New York with the World Trade Center, Twin Towers, and their experience with that. Hillary and I, for the most part, for most of our lives, have lived within 50 miles of DC, and most of our experience has been with the plane that flew into the Pentagon, and the response after that. So while we did see some of the incidents with the World Trade Center on TV, we definitely had more going on with the Pentagon. So in this video we're going to talk about that experience, and I'm going to let Hillary start with how she kind of heard about it and what happened initially.
Alright, well, I was a youngin'. I was in 7th grade when it happened, and I actually was getting home from church from my school. It was a Catholic school, and we just happened to go to church that day, and when we got back, we noticed that the televisions were on, and we were just really curious, what was going on, because it was definitely a different aspect, or different than what was normally happening. After that, we started to watch. I think only the first plane had hit the first tower, and then we watched on from there. And then we continued watching, and then what time did the Pentagon get hit? It was later in the day, just not too much longer. We heard that the Pentagon had got hit with a plane, and then everything just changed. Parents, they started to cancel school because the base near us, it supports the DC area, like Hila mentioned before, and I just remember, everything just going crazy. People trying to get a hold of their parents, because a lot of the people that I went to school with, their parents worked on the base or worked in DC, and everyone was scrambling to try to get hold of parents and get home. And I remember being outside, sitting by the picnic tables, just worrying about trying to get a hold of my mom and my dad, because my dad actually did work on, or still does work on the military base back home, and wasn't able to get a hold of him, and just started to get really worried about what was going on. And I remember looking up in the sky, and I just could hear so many jets and planes just leaving, and that was definitely out of the norm. For the regular day, you hear one or two during the school day, and then it was just so many, and it was really scary, because I'm the oldest child in my family, so I was worried about trying to take care of my brother and trying to get home, and just scared for everybody. And it was a scary day. And I don't remember much after getting home. Personally, it was just a very traumatic experience, but luckily my dad was safe, and he was actually evacuated from the base because he was a civilian, so he finally got home. But yeah, it wasn't too much to remember for me, but that was about it.
My experience, I was in 8th grade. It's one of those times where you just remember every single thing from that day. At least I did. I was in 8th grade in Miss Stone's science class, and it was in my school. There was TVs in every single classroom. It wasn't something we ever watched TV. It was just a lot of times there was learning aids that the teacher would put into the TV, and you would watch it. But we were in the middle of doing a lab in science class, and the teacher from the next classroom over just walked in the classroom and turned on the TV and walked out. And you could hear, soon after that, every other classroom was having the same TV turned on to the same channel, and everyone was just told to watch the TV. And at that time, like Hillary mentioned, the first tower had been hit, and it was just, everyone in the school was just glued to the TV. No one really knew what was going on. The first tower had been hit, and then as we were watching, you see the second tower have the plane fly into it. So at that point, once the second tower had been hit, it kind of sunk in that something was wrong. This wasn't, an accident. That kind of mentality kind of rolled over everyone. The class that I was in, there's actually a girl. Her name was Kim. Her father worked at the Pentagon. So once we heard that the Pentagon had been hit by another plane, it was just, everyone was worried about her, and then everyone started worrying about other friends and family that they knew in DC or in the Pentagon itself. So after that, like Hillary mentioned, pretty much all the schools in our area were closed and evacuated because we're in such a close proximity to Washington, D.C. and military base that we live next to. Everyone was let go from school, parents were picking their kids up, and then soon after that the base was evacuated. All contractors and civilians were told to go home. I don't know necessarily if it was a threat on the base that we were working with, but just to get everyone home and with their family so they could kind of regroup, I guess. Hillary did mention that and everyone else in the video responses said that all planes were grounded, there was no air traffic whatsoever, and for us that was the exact opposite. Since the base that we lived next to was a direct support to DC, to the White House, the Pentagon, anything like that in DC, every single jet basically that our base had was flown out in support. So, like Hillary mentioned, on a typical day you'd hear a couple jets, planes flying over school just for testing purposes, because that's what the base was, but it was just one after the other flying over the school heading up to DC for support. So not only do you have this hearing everything on TV about all the planes flying in to either the World Trade Center or the Pentagon, and then you hear the response from the base, just everyone flying over. At that point, again, it was just like another thing just sunk into your stomach. And you kind of hear that response, and again that something's wrong. So it was definitely something that neither Hillary and I had ever experienced before, and something that you will never forget once you kind of experience that. But once everyone was sent home, I basically spent the rest of the day with my sisters, our eyes glued to the TV, just watching the coverage of what was going on and the response after the buildings had fallen and all that. So it was one day that I'll never forget, and you just think about all the people that either helped in the effort to clean up, or all the people who lost their lives that day. It's something that for our generation, like Pearl Harbor or like JFK or whatever, it's something that you will never forget. And for me, I will never forget, everything I've explained in this video. Where I was, the kind of response afterwards, it's something all its own. So I hope you guys really take today to step back and remember all the people who volunteered, who helped in the effort to search for people either at the Pentagon, at the World Trade Center, in Pennsylvania, wherever they may have gone, and take a second to think about all those families and individuals who lost a loved one in the attacks on September 11th. So if you have the time, please make a video response either to this video or MHADE990's video. I think it's something important and something that everyone inside the United States and even in different countries, it's a day to remember, and a day to bring together everyone for a collective good. So I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed sharing our experiences. Have a good rest of the day, and thanks for watching.